Hey guys, it's Miss Cuban here. In this video we're going to learn about percents and how to solve percent problems, application problems. One big idea you have to know is that percents are part of a whole. That's what a percent is. It represents part of a whole, which is why it can be fractions. But a percent is a special fraction because the denominator is always 100. It's a special fraction. The percent is out of 100. So when you are solving percent application problems, you are always following the concept of part over whole, and you're always making it equal to 100. So if I give you a part, whole, and 100, you should be able to tell me the percent. If I give you the percent, the 100, and the whole, you should be able to tell me the part. So if I give you 3 out of the 4, you can find the fourth one by using a ratio table and a proportion. So let's try some as an example so you can see what I mean. Okay, so this is a basic problem where I'm going to give you all the information and we're going to look for the percent. So let's go ahead and read it. The 7th grade class held an end-of-the-year dance. Of the 300 7th graders, 246 decided to attend. What percent of the 7th grade class attended the end of the year dance? So when I look back at this and I look at my first sentence, there's not very much information I need. But if I look at my next sentence where it says of the 300, that 300 would tell me that's my whole. I have 300 7th graders. And then it says 246 decided to attend. That's my part. The question wants to know what is the percent that attended. Always key to find out what the percent they're looking for. So that tells us that when I make my ratio table, I want to know what is the 1% that attended out of my whole, because a percent, the definition of a percent, is part of a whole. So then I go back on my problem, and I know that 246 students attended the dance out of 300. And in my percent, I am looking for the what percent that attended out of 100. And so I'm going to use this proportion and ratio table to help me solve, because I know that they are equal ratios. So if I'm going for my percent, I am trying to determine how do I go from 300 to 100. I can multiply or divide because ratios are multiplicative comparisons. So 300 to 100 tells me I'm going to divide by 3. And whatever I do to my denominator, I'm going to do to my numerator. So 3 goes into 246, 8, 3 goes into 6, 2 times. So my answer is 82. So this question, my answer is 82% attended the dance. Okay? I used a ratio table and a proportion to solve. Now what if I give you the whole and the percent and I want to find the part? Let's try another one. Okay, let's read this one. On an average Saturday, 15% of tickets sold are child tickets. If there are 460 tickets sold on Saturday, how many were sold 2 children. I'm sorry, guys. So I'm reading this problem, and I'm going to make some notes. 15%. Every time I see a percent, I need to write down 15 out of 100. That is my percent. Next, I know that if there are 460 tickets sold, that 460 is my whole. I want to know how many were children. So that's my part. So now I'm going to create my ratio table. I want to know how many were child tickets versus my total. This problem told us that 15% were children and percent is out of 100, which is why I made my little bitty note. And then I know that there were 460 tickets total, so I want to know how many were children. So with that being said, I'm now going to try to determine how am I going from 100 to 460. So I don't know that in my head, so I'm going to divide it to find out. 100 goes into 460 4 times. I get 60 left over. So I'm going to add a decimal and bring it up, and then a 0. 100 goes into 600 6 times. Subtract and I get 0. So I know that 100 times 4 6/10 will give us 460. Well, to find my missing part, I have to do the exact same thing. Multiply it by 4 6/10. 15 times 4 6/10. 6 times 5 is 30. 6, 7, 8, 9. Placeholder. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. And then I'm going to add and count my decimal places. 15 had no decimals, and 4.6 had 1. So my answer should have 1. So I know that there are 69 children that received a ticket. I am totally misspelling children. Let me start over. Children. Okay. And let's try one more way. This time I'm going to give you the percent and the part, and we're going to look for the whole. Okay. Let's look at this problem. The campus demographics included 480 female students. This represents 64% of the student body. How many students are enrolled? So I'm going to go back to this problem and make my notes. I'm analyzing. The campus demographics include 408 female students, 480. That would tell me that's a part. Continue. This represents 64%. Every time you see a percent, I want you to write it as 64 over 100. That's your part over whole. How many students are enrolled? So we are looking for the whole. So now I'm going to make my table. I know we have female and our total, our whole. So in this problem, 480 were female. I don't know my whole, so I'm just going to put a question mark over my whole. But I do know that it was 64% out of 100. So now, my question mark I'm looking is on the left, so I'm going to go from what I know. 64 to 480. I don't know yet, so I'm going to have to divide. 64 times blank gives us 480. But I don't know my 64 facts, so I'm going to have to list them out. 64 plus 64 is 128. Add another 64, and I get 192 plus 64. That'd be 6. 256 plus 64. 0. 12. 320 plus 64. Am I making a mistake at all? No. So I would get 484. So I have 64, 192, 128, 192, 256, 320, 484. Add 64. 4, 1, 4, 5, 6. Oh no. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. 4 plus 1 is 5. Add another 64. 8 plus 4 is 12. 6 plus 1 is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. 612. So, let's see how many times it goes in. 64 can't go into 4, can't go into 48, but it goes into 480. Seven times. And that would give us 448. And guys, I made a little boo-boo. I wasn't 484, it was 384. So I fixed it and I re-added. So I apologize. I'm not perfect. So, keep going. 64 times 7 is 448. I will subtract, and I get 32. I'm going to add a decimal, bring it up, add a 0. 64 goes into 320 5 times. And then I know that I multiply by 7 and 5/10. So all I have to do now is multiply my denominator by 7 and 5/10. So 100 times 7 and 5/10. That would be 005, placeholder, 007. So I get 7500, 1 placeholder. So my answer is 750 students total. So I showed you a little bit of each time you're going to receive a percent. No matter what, I would make sure you have a ratio table written down, make your annotations, and take it step by step. And of course, remember, percents are always out of 100. Have a good day, guys.